Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha. I am here to teach you how to do beaded jewelry and other types of beaded accessories. Today, for this demonstration, I will be showing you how to do double brick stitch. I've already prepared my needle and thread here. I've cut 25 inches of thread, and I always leave a 4-inch tail at the end of my thread when I do my projects. I don't use a stop bead, and I'll show you my method. So it's going to be very similar to regular brick stitch, except that you're going to be sewing 2 beads at a time when you start. So whenever we start any type of brick stitch, we do a ladder stitch. For the purposes of this demonstration, I will be doing 4 ladder stitches with 2 beads on each ladder. So to start, what I do is I thread on 2 beads onto my thread, and I leave about a 4-inch tail at the end. And you'll see how I secure this in place. Now, when we're doing ladder stitch for double brick stitch, we always use 2 beads. So I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 more beads. I will thread them on. And if you watch closely, what I do now is I hold my first set of beads really tight, and I come around. So I'm going to come around and sew into those first 2 beads. And I'm going to pull my thread, leaving that 4-inch tail. Now we have 2 more beads sitting on top of our first set. Now, to really secure this in place, I go around one more time. So I go up top, pull my thread through, go onto the bottom 2 beads, sew in, pull my thread, and go up top again, like so. So now it's really secured in place. So the beads won't get loose. So that's our first ladder stitch. I'm going to do 8 beads, so I need to do 2 more stitches. I'm adding 2 more beads. Pulling my thread through. And now what I'm going to do is, if you watch closely, I'm going to come around, go underneath, pull my thread through, come back up into our current row, go through those 2 beads, and pull. So now we have 6 beads. Now we're going to do our last set. I'm going to grab 2 beads. I'm going to put them onto my needle, and I'm going to pull through, going to sew back into those top beads, and we have successfully done our first row, which is our ladder stitch for double brick stitch. Now, to really secure these two beads in place, I go around one more time. The thread I'm using is called Good Thread by John Bead, and it's really thin and it really helps you do multiple passes in your work. I will list the products that I'm using in the description below. And get my tail out of the way here. I always have my tail of my work facing down when I'm doing any sort of beaded jewelry. Okay, so there we have our first ladder stitch. Now the rules are pretty much the same for double brick stitch as they are for single brick stitch if you watch my first tutorial. The only difference is that instead of using only 2 beads, you're going to use 4 beads to start. So what I do is I string on my 4 beads. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 beads, thread them on, and now if you look closely, you'll see these little thread bumps. We're going to go into that first thread bump. We're going to go underneath. We sew underneath that first thread bump, like so. We pull. And now to secure our first regular double brick stitch in place, we go back up around the thread bump and into the second set of beads on our current row, and we pull our thread. So we have successfully done our first double brick stitch. Now to complete this row, I have to do 4 more beads. So this will be a regular brick stitch, a regular double brick stitch, and I'm going to thread on my 2 beads. Like so. I will go underneath that next thread bump. I will pull my thread, go around the thread bump, and back up our current set of beads to secure it in place. We have one more set. I'm going to go ahead and thread on my beads. I'm going to go underneath that last thread bump, pull through, go around the thread bump and up to our last set of beads. So I'm explaining this slowly, so for beginners it's good to practice. Practice always makes perfect. And there we have our first set of double brick stitch. In the previous tutorial, I did show you that you're allowed to turn your work over and work from left to right on each row. But when I'm doing patterns, I go wherever the thread starts. So I'll show you my technique. And in this row, I'm going to show you how to decrease your brick stitch, your double brick stitch. So when we're decreasing double brick stitch, we don't add 2, but we add 4 beads for our start. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're not going into that first thread bump, we are going into that second thread bump. So we're going to sew like so. And I'll show you how I secure all the beads in place. I first go into that second row of that second set of beads on our current row. So watch closely. So that second set. Pull my thread through. Now, I like to really secure this set in place. For single brick stitch, I usually went down into the row below and came back up. There are 2 methods of doing this. The first method is to go back into this first set of beads, go around and up into the second set of beads. I'll show you my way. I like to make it very secure. So what I like to do is I like to go back down the first set of beads like so. I like to go into the second set of beads in the row below, sew through, I like to go into the third set of beads in the row below and go diagonally back up into the second set of beads in the row above. So I'm going into that third row here, the third set of beads in the row below. And now to complete this stitch, we're going to go back up into the second set of beads on our current row. So and there we have our decreased double brick stitch. To complete this row, I'm going to add 2 more beads. Now I'm going underneath that last thread bump. I pull, I loop up and into the last set of beads in our current row. And there we have successfully completed our decreased row of double brick stitch. Now, what if we want to increase? It's the same concept as single brick stitch. You're basically going to do a ladder stitch to increase. So let's say we want to have 10 beads or double rows of 5. What we're going to do is we're going to start with 4 beads here. going to thread them on. And we're going to go into that underneath that very first thread bump here. Pull. We're going to loop up and go into the second set of beads on our current row. So we've looped up, and let's see if I can show you up close. We are going to pull our thread, and we have successfully done our double brick stitch of this row. To really secure it in place, I'll show you the other method, is literally just staying on the same row. I go back down into the first set of beads, and I come back up into the second set of beads. Now we're going to do another double brick stitch. We grab 2 beads, we thread them on, like so. We go underneath that next thread bump. We pull our thread, we loop up and around the thread bump and into our current set of beads. So we're going to go into those 2 here. Now, to complete the increased row, we're going to ladder on 4 more beads, or 2 rows of 2. So I'm going to grab 2 beads, and to do a ladder stitch, we're going to come around and go through our current set of beads, or double set of beads. So that's, and then we have to go back up to complete that ladder. And last but not least, we have our 5th set. I'm going to thread on my beads. I'm going to go around, and I'm going to go back into our last set of beads. Okay, so we have successfully completed our increased row of double brick stitch. Let's say we want to add 6 rows of double brick stitch in our next, let's say we want to add 6 sets of beads in our next row of double brick stitch. This is what we would call a complex row. So I will show you what we would do in that case. Now I'm going to work backwards today because this is how I normally work on my patterns. A trick I do to secure this increased row in place is I go back down into the set below, and I diagonally go in. I'm going to go back into that first. Now if you watch closely, I'm going to diagonally go into that first set in the row below. This prevents it from becoming wobbly. I'm going to go into that second set in the row below and go diagonally into the third set in the row above. Pull through. See, now it's more sturdy. I'm going to go down into that fourth set and back up into our fifth set. We always want our thread facing up whenever we start a new row. So now I'm going to show you how to add 6 rows of double brick stitch. So remember, we always start with 4. Do 1, 2, 3, 4. We are going into that very first, underneath that very first thread bump. Pull. And we are doing our first brick stitch, double brick stitch. And we're going to grab 2 more beads, thread them on, go underneath that second thread bump, pull through, loop up and around, go back up into our third set of beads. We're going to grab another set of 2. Go underneath the next thread bump, pull around and up into our current set of beads and pull. One more time, we're going to grab 2 beads, thread them on, go underneath that last thread bump, pull, go around the thread bump and up into our last, our 5th set of beads. And now to successfully increase for a complex row, we're going to do ladder stitch. Even if you have like 5 more rows or 5 more sets, you would just do ladder stitch. And that's what a complex row is. So I'm going to grab my 2 beads here. I'm going to go around and into our last set of beads in our current row. I'm going around. And I have laddering on our current set of beads. So that's the ladder stitch. Now if we want to add one more row, or I'm sorry, one more set, we can still ladder it on. We can go like this. Sew through. And go back up. Okay, so that was successfully our complex row of increased double brick stitch. What if we had a pattern that asked us to start the next row over here? Well, let me show you what we would do in that case. I would go down into the set below. I would sew back up here, and I would start a double brick stitch in this bump. So I would grab 4 beads, one, two, 3, 4, and I would go into that thread bump here, and I would sew up into that second set on our current row, pull through, and now to secure these beads in place, I do the diagonal trick again. So I would go down like into those sets of beads. I'd go diagonally into the row below, go this way as well, go back up. You always want to work diagonally when you're securing. And back into that second set. So it's very secure in place. And I guess I'll show you one more row of double brick stitch. Go into that following thread bump, pull through, loop up, and around the thread bump and go through this set of beads. Oops. Sometimes your loops get caught. So this is an example of sometimes your loops get caught like this. So what you want to do is take your needle off your thread, pull the thread out. We're going to rethread our needle. Leave a little bit of a tail, and we're going to sew back up into that current row or current set of beads, making sure our tail doesn't get caught in the stitch. Okay, so these are two complex rows that I've just completed. Yeah, so that's how you do double brick stitch. I've shown you how to do the starting ladder stitch, the first row of regular double brick stitch. I've shown you a decreased row, an increased row, and two complex rows, which are increased and decreased. I hope you have a good day, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.